Hey QED coders, this is Michael, and we are live on Discord, so if you would like to join us, go to immutablearchitecture.com where you can learn all about the art of immutable architecture. Join us every Thursday on Discord and talk about architecture, talk about how we can use immutable design patterns in order to make our software architecture that much better. And on this channel, we work on the Jinaga open source library, which is the first immutable runtime. And so, last time we started down the path of doing a demonstration of a cool new capability, and ran into some issues, as often happens on this channel. I like to demo things that are really fresh, and today's no exception. Just deployed some things this morning that I'd like to show you. So let's see if we can pick up where we left off from last week and get this demo working. So I will switch to let's see. I want to start. Let's start right here. Okay. I'm not seeing. There we go. All right. OBS was doing something strange. So you will see right here. Yes, right there. You will see if somebody joins us, and I will hear them. So please, join us. What we're seeing here is the release build of Jinaga.net. So right here, 12 minutes ago, I was like, oh my goodness, the thing I want to show was not included in the public release 19 hours ago. So I hit the button. Well, I updated the release to include all the things I want, and hit the button. The things that I want to show. I've got a new version of the NuGet package, Jinaga.tool. And yeah, you can see here, I've got a little bit of a problem. I should go ahead and unlist the correspondence library. I called Jinaga the first immutable runtime. Correspondence might actually have been the first, but I don't quite fully consider it an immutable runtime. Doesn't tick all the boxes. But Jinaga, there we go. So Jinaga tool, that was just recently published 14 minutes ago. So we've got a brand new version to try out. And in this window, this is from last week, we were trying to deploy what I was calling rule sets at the time. There's a brand new name for them now. They're called policies. Makes a lot more sense. So let's install the latest Jinaga tool and see that working. So .NET tool install -- global. Jinaga.tool, we're going to do version 114. There we have it. We've upgraded from 091 to 114. It jumped. Not just a minor version, but a major version. And so now we've got .NET, not .NET, .NET Jinaga. And what can it do? It can do all of these things now. You can deploy and you can print authorization, distribution, purge, and policy. So authorization rules, distribution rules, those were there before. Purge conditions, that is new. So that is all of the conditions under which it will purge data from the replicator. And then policy, that's the collection of all of them. So so here I'm in a rules folder. I don't want those rules. Just remove that directory. Let's go to the blog Maui sample And if I open this up, I need to have a space before the dot. There we go. So here is everything that's happening in Blog Maui land. In fact, there might be some updates that I want to pull. Let me just check that out. So git fetch. Yeah, there's some updates. So I'm going to git pull -- rebase because I saw that I've got we've got unstaged changes here. Okay. That means, okay, yeah, what I did is I added a purge condition. Let's keep what I've got here. This is fine. I think I redid these things on another machine. So what I have here is a set of purge conditions. So the purge conditions say that you want to purge site, all of the successors of site really, when there exists a site purged. And that site purged refers back to the site purged deleted site. So we want that purge rule, that purge condition, to show up in our policy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Jinaga. I'll do this one here, Jinaga print, or .NET Jinaga print. And then I want to print the, first of all, I'll just print the purge. Let's go to the assembly, and that is blog Maui bin, let's do the debug builds, and let's go with .NET 7. Why do we still have .NET 7 stuff in there? .NET 8, Windows, sure. That one's good, and then I'm going to say, oh, I've got different versions of it. And then I'm going to say blog Maui. Oh, okay, one more thing. And then I can say blog Maui. Come on. There's got to be some files in there. All right, well, let's go back to the 19. Okay, that one's got some files in there. Okay, blogmaui.dll. You know, I should use the control space rather than the tab when I'm in PowerShell. That gives you a better experience for completion. At any rate, this is what we've got. So we're going to print the purge rules from this DLL. And it expected that purge method to be there, and it wasn't there. So let's do a .NET build to make sure that we've got the latest DLL. I'm sure that wasn't the latest DLL. So we are trying to refresh. You can do it. Okay, here's the DLL. There's one for the iOS simulator, one for Mac Catalyst, one for Android. Any of these will do. They're all just .NET DLLs, .NET assemblies. So let's just go ahead and pick that one. And as soon as my command line comes back, we can try it again. You can do it. You can do it. All right, I'm killing you. Okay, so .NET Jinaga. I'm going to print purge that DLL. Huh. Expected purge, and it wasn't there. How is this not there? Okay. Okay, I think I know what it is. So in Jinaga config, I'm creating the Jinaga client, and I'm expressing the purge conditions like so. But there's more to it. In order to export those purge conditions for a policy file, I need to have a property. So, like right here, I've got authorization and distribution. Let's do public static string purge. So that's going to be a method that calls purge rules describe purge, but yeah, can't use the distribution, distribute, authorization, authorize. Yeah, purge conditions. We'll give it a different name. Well, that's already the name of the type. I'm going to have to come up with a good standard for this. Basically, I want to give this a name that's different from that. So, define purge conditions. That's what I'll call it for right now. So let's define purge conditions. All the way down here. Whoop. So, okay, yep, that's what I want to do. So I'm going to return a purge rules. So define purge conditions is going to take purge rules, and it's going to say, yeah, that's a lot of purge conditions. I don't want to purge in all those cases. So I just want to purge the site when exists site purged. Purge deleted site. So that's what I want to do, which means I can use this method here. I can use it here to define the purge conditions, and I can also use it here. So this is just define purge conditions. All right, so I am using those purge conditions locally, and I am exporting them. Now if I build, let's just build one of these things. I don't want to go crazy, so, well, yeah, I could do a no restore. That would make things faster. Okay, purge rules could not be found. Could it be that I need the latest version of Jinaga in order to get the purge conditions? I'll bet you that's the case. So, given all of this, here's what I'm going to do. Let's get checkout -b demo on wrong. Define purge conditions. There. And then I'm going to go back to main, and I'm going to pull. It says that it can be fast forwarded. 57 commits? That's crazy. What have I been doing here? Alright, but here we have hopefully the new code. Yeah, so define purge conditions. I apparently came up with the same name, so maybe I'm on to something. So define purge conditions as we can see here. Let's just try to build. There it is. Java. No. Build this .NET library, will ya? Oh my goodness. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Alright. Let's do a .NET build. This time I do want it to restore because there's some package references in here that I want to make sure that I've got. So let's go ahead and take a look at those package references while it's doing what it's doing. So here I've got Jinaga. Oh, I was doing the private build. Let's go ahead and update those while we're here, because I want to show you what's actually been published. Attempting to cancel build. Well, while you attempt to do that, what is the proper version of Jinaga? That is 1.1.2. 1.2. Jinaga Maui is 1.1.0. And Jinaga Store SQLite 1.1.2. Okay. You know what? I'm doing all of this in VS Code. I'm on a Windows machine. I can be doing this in Visual Studio. Okay, so that means I don't need that one, I don't need that one, and I should be, come on, I don't need these. And I should be able to do a build from here without entering my credentials for any of these repositories. Come on. I'm not pulling from them. These are the public repositories, the public packages now. Oh my goodness, demo's gone wrong all over the place. Okay, something is happening in Android land. What's going on here? My tooling is out of date. Failed to retrieve from source. Come on, let's just go public only. Manage NuGet packages. You go away. I'm going to manage the package sources, so we are not gonna do this. Come on, go away. No, not you. You. Uncheck. Okay. All right. Let's make sure there are no others. Great. Okay, only go to the public sources. It's able to restore. Android manifest does not match the supported versions. This happens every once in a while, but at least it's able to get past that and build some of the others. So I've got the Mac Catalyst one, I've got the simulator, I've got the Windows one. Good. Let's go back to here and grab this one. Okay. This is exciting content, I know. All right, now let's do a .NET Jinaga. We are going to print. We're just looking at purge right now. Purge from this DLL. Okay. The class not registered. Type initializer module through an exception. Why? Why do you not like this? Why do you not like this? Okay. Is it the DLL? I'm going to go to the ARM DLL. .NET Jinaga print purge. Okay. I have no idea why the Windows DLL says that the module is not registered, but this is what we're supposed to see. We have the purge rules extracted from the DLL. Amazing. This should be the easiest part of the demo. So basically what we have done here is gone into this, this describe. Come on. Why are you giving me the squiggly? It built, so it's got to be, well, okay, I've probably seen that from Android, but so we export a function called purge from a class called Jinaga config, and that's what this tool is looking for. Then it calls that function and it outputs the result. So you could return any string if you want to, but what you should do is purge conditions describe and then give it your purge conditions function. And this purge conditions function, as we saw before, defines that purge condition. So that's the purge condition in .NET. That's the purge condition in Factual. It's just a specification. All right. For the next trick, we want to see these purge conditions in context, not just purge, but give me the whole policy. So here is the entire policy file. We've got our purge condition there, but we also have our distribution rules and our authorization rules. So all those have been converted into factual as well, which means that now I can give these to any replicator and it will be able to enforce those rules, those policies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a directory called policies, and then I'm going to write this policy file out to policies blog.policy. And there we go. Now I have exported my policy file. The next thing I want to do is, excuse me, to start a replicator that's using that policy file. There are two ways to do that. Well, let's look at those two ways now. So I'm going to go out to Docker Hub. And don't even need to sign in for this. Let's just search for Jinaga Replicator. And here is our Jinaga Replicator, updated 2 hours ago. There's another one not shown here for some reason, but that's where we are. So the Jinaga Replicator is the central infrastructure component of a Jinaga network. It's a database, a REST API, a message queue, and a WebSocket server all in one. And so it can run these policies for us to make sure that all of our data is secure within that replicator. This first command here uses Jinaga Replicator no security policies. If I copy this and run it, that's going to pull that Jinaga Replicator no security policies, which was the package that I was curious why it didn't show up in the list. And then it starts that up. And so now I have a replicator called my replicator that's running on port 8080. Let's go to Docker Hub, and I can see, or Docker Desktop, and I can see here's my replicator. I can take a look at the logs, and I can see that it's got Postgres running in the background, but kind of intermixed within all of this because it starts Postgres and the replicator at the same time, so they're kind of mixed together. You will see that here it is. That wasn't it. You're now connected. 5432. Somewhere in here is the logs that the replicator itself started. And there it is. Replicator is running at localhost 8080, which we export. So now it's exported, port 8080, and we can hit it there. But that replicator is running. Because we used the image that says no security policies, that means it's running with no security policies. This is wide open. This is really just for experimenting, just for your very first run. So last week I said, Jinaga Replicator do not use in production. That's the name that I settled on. If it's got a name like no security policies and you're using it in production, I should hope that somebody takes a closer look and says, wait a minute, don't we need some security policies? Yes, in fact you do. So let me stop it, let me delete it. Let's run the version with some security policies. Now, there are two ways to do that, as I was saying before. One way is to well, here it's describing security policies. We've already looked at that. .NET Jinaga can do that for you. You can mount a folder, and then that way you can update your security policies on your host machine and restart your container, and they will get picked up. Or you can create a brand new base image and copy all of your policy files into varlib replicator policies. And now you've got a base image you can use to create your container, and that is what you will deploy to your production environment. So that might be a more build-friendly way to do that, if that's the way you want to set up your pipelines. Now, of course, that's hard. That's extra keystrokes and creating images and blah blah blah. Why do I want to go through that much trouble when I can just mount the folder? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to docker run. Well, let's first of all docker pull Jinaga Replicator so that I've got the latest one. It's Jinaga / Jinaga Replicator. There we go. So we can see all of those layers exist because the no policies one is based on this. So, of course, those exist. Now, we're going to start a replicator called my replicator, and now I need to give it the path to the policies files. And those policy files are in C projects, Jinaga samples, blog Maui policies. So that's my policies folder, : and then where I mount that is varlib replicator policies. So mount it there. I haven't tried this on Windows before. Let's see if I got the syntax right. It started something. Good. Let's check it out. Here is my replicator, and here are the logs. And we can see we have somewhere in here. Yeah, it is getting hard to find. You know what? An easier way to find this stuff would be to just restart. And then we don't have all of the SQL or the Postgres initialization. Because Postgres was already initialized. Here we go. How interesting. Okay, expected end of input file, but weird characters, authorization. Okay, I haven't tested this on Windows before. I haven't set it up to properly parse the new line characters from Windows. So, there's work to be done here. There we go. That is as far as we can make it through this demo. I know exactly what I need to do now. Should be a relatively quick fix. But let's talk about the next feature that I need to put in place in order to make this a really useful image for you. So the replicator so far, they use a they have the authorization and the distribution rules plugged in, but they don't have any authentication built in. So that means that in order for you to exchange facts with them, you have to have your own private key, your own RSA key pair, and digitally sign those facts so that it can authorize them. And then for distribution, I still don't have a mechanism for you to just with a key pair prove who you are so that it can run the distribution rule. So while you can deploy authorization and distribution rules and purge conditions, you can deploy policies to a replicator. At this point, they're of limited use. But if you could authenticate, then they would be of great value. So there are many different ways that I might want to authenticate. So if I am putting this on on the front lines and people from the web and from mobile applications are connecting to it, then I'll want to authenticate using their Google, their Apple, their Microsoft, whatever ID that we want to allow them to log in to that website with. So so that means I need to support all those. But this isn't an identity provider. Google's the identity provider, Apple's the identity provider. This is a relying party. So it shouldn't have to know about all those different identity providers. Instead, it should just know OAuth. So there's going to be an OAuth authentication mechanism built into the image, and then you will configure that using files. So similar to how we use policy files in order to configure the authorization and distribution and rules and the purge conditions, we'll have a kind of file that configures authentication. So that will include, we're going to use RSA authentication for JWT, and we are going to have this issue or this audience, this public key. All of those things are going to be expressed within the file. And so, if it's done right, there shouldn't be, if it's like an RSA kind of thing, then there shouldn't be any secrets in there. It's all public key kind of stuff. Just validate this public key and then trust it. And then you might also want to authenticate from a backend service, and those will not have Apple or Google or Microsoft logins. Maybe Active Directory, maybe Intra ID, Active Directory in the cloud. Maybe it'll just be client credentials. So if you're just using client credentials, then why not support those directly? Because you're not going to have something that can just turn that into an RSA kind of an OAuth token. So so one of the mechanisms will be client credentials. Expect the hash of the credentials to be this, and so then you'll be able to deploy all of those different authentication mechanisms into a replicator, and then configure your network. Oh, configure your network. That's another thing. Right now, the image supports just one replicator, but it should be a part of a network. So you should be able to list out your upstream networks or your upstream replicators. So whenever you receive something, you forward it upstream. When somebody asks you a question, you ask from the upstream. When somebody subscribes, you subscribe upstream. And that way you've got the mesh already set up. So if somebody publishes on a different replicator, that goes upstream to the central replicator, you're subscribed, it pulls down to this replicator and then out. And then you should be able to set up all of this stuff. So authentication using OAuth, that needs to be built in. And then client credential support for that. And then demonstrating how to use something like Fusion Auth as an identity provider that allows you to federate. I might need to do that in order to get Apple and Google working out of the box. I don't know. I'll play around with that, see what's necessary. And then listing your upstreams so that I can demonstrate all of this wonderful pre-wiring of your network automatically. So that's what's coming next. Expect next week to have the authentication OAuth stuff. And who knows, maybe the week after that, all the upstream and the networking. So all the pieces are there. Just need to put them in the right place. So making some progress. Thank you for joining me on this this update. Yeah, hopefully next time we can have a demo that goes even further. Have to fix that little end of line thing. But yeah, until then, this has been Michael. Tell me what cool things you built.